بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Welcome my brothers in Islam to lesson 235 of Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk, book 1 part 1 of the new version. وقفنا عند صفحة 168. We stopped at page 168 تحديدا عند السطر الثالث, exactly at the third line من الأعلى from the top. قبل ذلك أيها الإخوة, before that my brothers in Islam, I've mentioned before the word مستودع, and I've mentioned that it means a storage, but مستودع has many other meanings as well, like a warehouse, a depot. So just to clarify that inshallah and to stress out the importance of this word. طيب سنستمر إن شاء الله, we will continue إن شاء الله. الوقت مبكر, the time is early. وقد ذكرت لكم في الدرس الماضي أو في الدرس السابق, I've mentioned in the previous lesson جمع هذه الكلمة, the plural of this word وقت, جمعه أوقات, times. ماذا تفعل في أوقاتك? What are you doing in your times? Maybe it doesn't sound in English that correct, but in the Arabic language sometimes we use أوقات, like I've mentioned كما ذكرت أيضا آنفا, as I've mentioned also before, أوقات الفراغ or وقت الفراغ. So when you say free time, spare time, you can use the single form and you can use the plural form as well. إذن الوقت مبكر, the time is early. مبكر here has, as you can see, it has two ضمة. It's اسم مرفوع, it's a noun with ضمة. وأحيانا يكون هذا الاسم منصوبا, and sometimes this noun will be منصوب having two فتحة. Okay, like استيقظت مبكرا, I woke up early. ذهبت مبكرا, I went early. Or سافرت مبكرا, I traveled early. سافرت مبكرا في الصباح, I traveled early in the morning. Then here مبكر has ضمة, and that's why it's خبر, and خبر is by default ضمة. خبر is a noun that has by default ضمة, and inshallah the definition of خبر will come in the green book inshallah. إذن خبر مرفوع, مرفوع stands for ضمة. وهذا الاسم, and this noun meaning مبكر, منصوب كثيرا, it's in a lot of times it has فتحة, as I just mentioned before. خصوصا, especially بعد الفعل, after the verb. I've mentioned few verbs. ذهبت مبكرا, سافرت مبكرا, and سأسافر مبكرا, whether using past or present tense verb or even command verb. سافر مبكرا, سافر مبكرا, travel early. Okay. أخرج مبكرا, go out early. إذن فائدة, a benefit إن شاء الله, وقت الفراغ. ويمكنك أن تقول, you can say أوقات الفراغ. Okay. أيهما أشهر, which of the two is more famous? الله أعلم, Allah knows best. كلاهما مستخدم, both of them are used. وقت الفراغ is free time with the extra e here, free time. نعم. تقول, you say مثلا ماذا تفعل في وقت فراغك? What do you do, what are you doing in your spare time, in your free time? في وقت فراغي أذهب إلى كذا وكذا. In my free time I go to such and such place. طيب الوقت مبكر. The time is early. قال هذا قاسم said this. ثم قال, then he said, الساعة الآن السادسة صباحا. الساعة الآن السادسة صباحا. The time is now 6 o'clock. إذن الساعة here means the time. Okay. هو هنا هو means it here. So هو هنا it is here بمعنى الوقت. بمعنى الوقت. It's here with the meaning of الوقت. So you can say الوقت الآن. The time is now. You can also say الساعة الآن. The time is now. And الآن, my brothers in Islam, what means now, دائما معرف بأل التعريف. It's also something you have to know. When you use the word الآن in the Arabic language, it's دائما, always, معرف, it's always made definite with the L of definition. So you always find it with L. It's not ana without the L. Okay, it's always with L, and it's always with the fatha. It's always with the fatha on the noon. It's not al-anu and it's not al-ani. Then it's always al-ana, what means now. Idhabil ana, go now. Now. طيب. الساعة الآن السادسة صباحا. The time is now 6 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, this is what you call 6 a.m. صباحا has two fatha because it's مفعول فيه ظرف زمان. It's a time-related adverb. وعكسه, what is the opposite of morning? Is evening. So in evening we say الساعة الآن السادسة مساء. Okay, what's in the evening? نعم. وهو بنفس الإعراب. It is the same syntax. It's the same reason why مساء has two fatha, and صباحا and عصرا and فجرا. All these words, all these nouns that you use after the time, they are time-related adverbs, and that's why they need a fatha. Yeah, you might say الساعة الآن السادسة في الصباح, but it's very rare. I would keep it on صباحا instead of في الصباح. And yes, I acknowledge that the second way is easier because it's just like in English, in the morning, in the afternoon, using in, but the Arabic way is more without a preposition. طيب. المدرسة بعيدة عن البيت. The school is far from home. The school, المدرسة, the school, and this is not the religious school where you learn the Quran. I've mentioned before, that's كتاب. That's the Quranic school. Yes, in some of the countries, a madrasa is a Quranic school, but in the Arabic language, a madrasa is any school. I don't like the word secular school because I strongly believe that each school should have a proper Islamic education, because that's the time, the very important time where the children are learning their religion. So anyway, على كل حال, anyway, المدرسة بعيدة. The school is far, and بعيدة always is always linked to a preposition that is عن, and sometimes it's عَني when you have the التقاء الساكنين, the meeting of two sukuns. Is it always ba'idatun? No, it can also be ba'idun, because ba'idun or ba'idatun, it always depends on the word before, on the noun before. So مثلا على سبيل المثال, as an example, المسجد بعيد عن المدرسة. You see, why is it بعيد and not بعيدة? Because المسجد مذكر, فكذلك بعيد. المسجد is masculine. Likewise, the word بعيد should be always following the previous noun. So المسجد, the masjid is far. Is it really that you always have to put عن? You don't have always to put عن if you put a full stop, نقطة بعد كلمة بعيد. So after the word بعيد, you can put a full stop. أين المسجد? Where is the masjid? المسجد بعيد. The masjid is far. But as soon as you start saying far from, then yes, definitely عن is compulsory, واجب. إذن, so المسجد بعيد عن المدرسة. The masjid is far from the school. وعن حرف جر. عن is a preposition. As you can see, the effect, the huge effect it has on the noun after it. المدرسة becomes المدرسة. Here, هنا أيضا في الكتاب, في الحوار, here as well, we have البيت and not البيت, لأن عن حرف جر وما بعده, and what comes after that is called يسمى اسم مجرور, the noun with a كسرة. تنبيه, a remark. لا تنسوا, don't forget, you lot. لا تنسوا. المدرسة قريبة من البيت. Don't forget the قريب and the قريبة. Whether it's قريب or قريبة, don't forget that they don't go with عن, but they go with من. They go with من. المدرسة قريبة من البيت. The school is near home. Okay? Or maybe to make it easier in translation, you can say to the students that min means from, and min also means to. For example, the school is close to. So translate min as to. Okay? It makes it easier. When you say near, there is no preposition to translate. So I prefer to say is close to. So min means to here. When it's joined with, when it's combined with qaribun or qaribatun, then in that situation means min means to. Okay? But in other situations, ana min Pakistan, I'm from Pakistan, min then means from. So, and in both situations, في كلا الحالتين, in both situations, من حرف جر, من is a preposition. So, المدرسة قريبة من البيت. So, أصل معناها, the root, the original meaning of it is from. أنا من باكستان, or another example, مثال آخر, الهدية, the present, the gift, it's actually a present. الهدية من خالد, the present is from Khalid. ولسعيد, and to Sa'id, so from Khalid to Sa'id. والبيت, درسنا كلمة, we have studied the word baytun. Baytun is house. So, although you say from the house, but the actual meaning is from home, yani your house. Okay? You want to emphasize it maybe more, you can say ba'idatun an bayti, from my house. The school is far from my house. An bayti, with a ya at the end, but then it's a must to drop the L of al-bayti. طيب. بيت أيضا بمعنى comes in the meaning a line of poetry. بيت is also a line of poetry. And a line of poetry, as you know, has two parts. Okay? صدر وعجز. Two lines, two parts in one line. Two parts or two phrases that you write in one line. And lines of poetry, the plural form, because we have buyutun, houses. But when we talk about baytun min ash-shi'ri, a line of poetry, then the plural of baytun is abyatun. Okay? Abyatun, lines of poetry. ويتكون البيت الشعري, and the poetry line consists of ويتكون البيت الشعري, and the poetry and the line of poetry consists of two parts. من جزئين, from two parts. صدر, صدر means chest, but not in this context. وعجز, I said عجز, but it's a mistake. It's عجز بالضمة على الجيم. عجز. So this is the first part and this is the second part. Okay. مثلا this is the first part and this is the second part. In some books you will find the two parts on one line. Let me see here. مثلا هنا رأيتم, you've seen here, it's two parts. Sorry, something went wrong. I will be right back, inshallah. Naam, my brothers in Islam, I'm back. So, like I've mentioned, my brothers in Islam, sometimes you will find the poem written on one line, and sometimes you have two parts, where, like here, we have here on the screen, one below the other. So this is called sadrun and this is called ajuzun, and they together form one baytun min ash-shi'ri, one line of poetry. We have here a line of poetry, a beautiful line, baytun jamilun min ash-shi'ri. أصدق بيت في الرثاء قول حسان بن ثابت رضي الله عنه. The most truthful line of poetry, and ritha'un actually is a poetry where you praise somebody. So you have different types of poetry. Hija'un is where you actually attack somebody. Ritha'un where you praise somebody. So the most beautiful bayt, line of poetry in the ritha is the qawl, is the saying of Hassan, قول حسان بن ثابت, and Hassan ibn Thabit was a companion رضي الله عنه. He said وما فقد الماضون مثل محمد ولا مثله حتى القيامة يفقد. The approximately meaning of this two lines, we start with the sadrun. Those who have passed have not lost like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ولا مثله حتى القيامة يفقد. And nobody like him sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be lost until the day of judgment. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is a baytun min ash-shi'ri, this is a line of poetry. هنا أيضا we have لدينا بعض الأبيات الشعرية, we have a few lines of poetry. قال الحافظ الحكمي رحمه الله. الحافظ الحكمي رحمه الله, one of the famous scholars of the past. لحظة من فضلك. One moment please. نعم. الحافظ الحكمي رحمه الله, he was a very great senior scholar in Saudi Arabia. ولد سنة 1924. He was born in the year 1924. And the strange thing is that he was only 33 years old when he died. He died in 1958. So he was very young, and he was a very, very great scholar, and he had written many books in Tawheed, from the most famous book is Sulam al-Wusul ila Ilm al-Usul, in Mustalah al-Hadith, in al-Fiqh, in Usul al-Fiqh, in al-Fara'id, in many things, and he was very known for shi'r, for writing poetry as well. He was a very famous scholar upon the Sunnah. You can, inshallah, search more about this great scholar. He died, he was only 33 years old, subhanallah. He said in his qasidah, qasidatun and mandumatun, they also mean, you can say, a poem. And this poem is called Sullamul Wusuli ila Ilmi al-Usul. It's a very beautiful poem that he has written. I'm not sure, was he in his teenage years when he has written this poem. In his mandumatun, so mandumatun and qasidatun, they also mean poem. They mean poem. Naam. He said, وَإِن دَعَ الْمَقْبُورَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ أشرك بالله العظيم وجحد. If the one who goes to the grave, if he asks the dead person, the one who is the buried person, if he asks him straight away, then he has indeed fall into a shirk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he has disbelieved. لن يقبل الله تعالى منه صرفا ولا عدلا فيعفو عنه. Allah the Exalted will not accept from him sarfan and also no adlan. Some said that these two words, they mean the compulsory worships and the voluntary worships. So both of them will not be accepted. Some of the scholars, they explained these two words as what I've just mentioned. So Allah will not accept both from him. Okay, no fara'id and no sunan, so he will not forgive him. إذ كل ذنب موشك الغفران, because every sin might be forgiven, is eligible to be forgiven. إلا اتخاذ الند للرحمن, except for taking partners with Ar-Rahman. ومن على القبر سراجا أو قدا, and whoever lights a lamp on the grave, some of the people of innovation do. Whoever puts up candles, or he puts a light on the grave with the intention of worshipping, of that it might be bringing him closer to Allah. أو بتنى على الضريح مسجدا, or the one who builds a darih, a mausoleum, or a masjid on the grave, فإنه مجدد جهارا, then that person, is the renewer in broad light of the sunan. فإنه مجدد جهارا لسنن اليهود والنصارى. Then that person who built a masjid on the grave, or put lights on the grave, then he is a renewer on broad light of the sunan of the Jews and the Christians. كم حذر المختار من ذا ولعن. How many times has the messenger, the chosen, al-Mukhtar is the messenger, the chosen, sallallahu, how many times has he warned about that? And la'an, and la'an is subhanallah, sometimes my English gets stuck. La'ana, many of you know that, but I have to, it's inshallah. إذن نعم, and cursed, نعم, فاعله كما روى أهل السنن. And how many times has he, the chosen, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, warned about the one who does it, and cursed its perpetrator as the Ahlul Sunan, the narrators of the books of Sunan, what is At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Abu Dawood, and An-Nasa'i. The Ahlus, as they have narrated in their books of hadith. بل قد نهى عن ارتفاع القبر. He even, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has indeed prohibited to raise the grave. وأن يزاد فيه فوق الشبر, to raise it more than a handspan, a shibr. وَكُلُّ قَبْرٍ مُشْرِفٍ فَقَدْ أَمَرٍ. And every grave that is raised, the Messenger ﷺ ordered, بِأَنْ يُسَوَّى هَكَذَا صَحَّ الْخَبَرِ. He ﷺ ordered those graves to be leveled, so to the ground, except for the shibr that is mentioned. وَحَذَّرَ الْأُمَّةَ عَنْ إِطْرَائِهِ. And he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, warned his ummah to go overboard when it comes to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَغَرَّهُمْ إِبْلِيسُ بِاسْتِجْرَائِهِ. But Iblis, he had taken advantage of them, and he has deceived them. Now, so here inshallah I will stop, and to the next class inshallah, my brothers in Islam. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.